there's a couple of politicians that really have made it their mission to take down one Donald Trump and to take down, frankly, capitalism. Two socialists, you know them well, AOC and Bernie Sanders, hitting the road to go take their socialism on steroids tour all over the place. They were so proud because they had thousands of people there in Colorado recently. It turned out, however, the data showed that apparently all of those people were like paid rally goers. Because what they discovered in some of the GPS data was that all of those people had been to like 8 or 9 Kamala events. Like this is what they do, right? They just kind of go around and go to these events and they get paid to go to these events. So they also inflated the crowd size, if you recall. Yeah, they said there were like 30,000 people there or 35,000 people there. It turned out there were like 20,000 people there. Don't get me wrong, 20,000, it's a lot. It's a lot to hire, right, and bring in. But hey, you know, you get deep pockets. I guess it can happen. AOC and Bernie Sanders, who believe that you should not have a right to keep the money that you may earn, who believe that business is the problem, who believe that you need to turn it all over to them so that they can reallocate the capital in the way that only they know best. I mean, forget the fact that the United States of America is the #1 largest economy, making lots of money, $30 trillion GDP, largest in the world for one reason, and that's because we embody capitalism. And these two people want to destroy it. You know what happens in that kind of environment? Oh, it goes right into their pockets. Take a look at AOC and Bernie Sanders, humble little communist socialists that they are, exiting from a giant multi-million-dollar private jet so that they can go give their pitch on how you need to pay more taxes. Take a look. Yep, that is video of AOC and Bernie Sanders getting out of that lovely, lovely jet because they don't fly commercial. No, they don't do anything the hard way. They do it all with donors' backings. And Bernie Sanders himself is a multimillionaire many times over, right? He says, oh, I got that way because of my books. I had great book sales. Well, why didn't you just donate it back to the cause, buddy? And why are you taking private jets? So you can see him, his white hair, he just walked off the jet, then AOC's there. And this is kind of, if you ask me, a bit embarrassing for these two, because if you're all about this redistribution of wealth, and if you're all about climate change and, you know, not polluting the environment, then what the heck are you doing on a private jet, which we know is bad for the environment? It reminds me of that time that John Kerry, our climate czar, was interviewed. He had to fly somewhere to accept a climate award. He gets off the plane and some reporter said to him, you really think it's appropriate to be flying a Gulfstream jet here for your climate award? And he's like, well, yeah, I have to get places. Like, we don't have to get places. The rest of the world doesn't have to get places. He doesn't want you flying more than 3 times a year or something crazy like that. And you're not allowed to take any kind of private jet, but he can, right? Because he knows, but that is what happens, you understand, in a communist society. It's been tried many times before all over the world. And you know what? It never works. It never works for a reason, because of greed. It is a human condition. Let's just own up to it, right? Accept the fact that we as human beings, we have our faults. We have our strengths, we have our weaknesses. And guess what? We're a greedy bunch. So I don't know what other system, it may not be perfect, embraces that greed in a positive way for the benefit of everyone other than a capitalist system. That's the truth of it. AOC and Bernie Sanders, I mean, really and truly, they are capitalists at heart, mind you, right? That is what they effectively are. And we know that because of the millions of dollars that Bernie has somehow amassed, his multiple homes, and the willingness, of course, to go out there and fly on a private jet. I'm surprised he flew with her. You know why I'm surprised? Because he's been a little bit ornery, shall we say. I mean, he's out there, oligarchy, and yet when I say ornery, he doesn't always like it when people talk to him about AOC. In other words, he's supposed to be the only socialist out there. How can they possibly have this young up-and-comer who's prettier than him? Here he is talking about his Well, I think he reveals, shall we say, his distaste for AOC. Remember when he walked off the set at ABC News? Jonathan Karl was trying to do an interview with him.
Would you like to see her joining the Senate?
Right now, we have, as I said, just a whole lot of people in the Congress. Okay, Jonathan, thanks.
Wait, I got one more. This is important.
Well, I asked you.
Okay.
You want to do nonsense, do nonsense.
No.
I don't want to talk about inside the Beltway stuff. I got 32,000 people.
I was just asking you about AOC because she was out there with you.
No, fine, but I don't want to talk about this. What was the last question?
I was just going to ask you one more question about you. I mean, that's all. I was literally your last.
What is your question?
Well, I mean, it's easier to sit.
Oh, Bernie, so how did you get on that jet with her? I wonder. I mean, she's not your type, right? She's not your type. How did you do that? That couldn't have been easy for you, having to fly all that way with one AOC. Well, he was asked about whether or not she's going to run for the Senate. Here's my intel. She's not thinking Senate, guys. This woman wants to run for the presidency of the United States of America. We already had a socialist, quasi-socialist, maybe even a bit fascist, shall we say, one Barack Obama there that was in the White House. In my estimation, given his economic policies, we don't need that. We definitely don't need that, which is why I get back to, I really want to see Pam coming out with stuff. I realize, okay, what is it, end of April. They've only been there since end of January, February, March. It's only been 90 days or so. They've only had a short amount of time, and part of it's just getting there. But they have had the benefit of the last 4 years, and I hope at least that they have enough ducks in a row to at least have the right team in place to enable everybody to just go out and do their job, which means you got to go after the Letitias of the world and the Fannie Willises and the Alvin Braggs, and you've got to make sure that you shore up the system so that it's fair and equitable for everyone.